I really wish I could go live with you right now, but I can't for 2 more weeks. So the religious are getting upset. The religious are getting upset at the things that I'm sharing in my videos. 2 gardens and a snake, and the one we just did last night, who is Yahweh? And the religious are always going to get upset. You know, very few religious people actually study their religious texts. The most zealous ones, they have their favorite little passages, and that's what they focus on. And when you look at Christianity in general, they focus on about 150 different passages. You know, the average pastor kind of knows about 150 different parts of the Bible. Well, that's a far cry from all of it. And they learn these 150 odd passages from everybody else that came before them. If you were to pick up the Bible without ever hearing anything about Christianity, and you were just to read the Bible, you would not come to the conclusions that Christianity teaches. And if I wanted to start some cult, then I could pick my favorite verses and build an entire system around those particular verses. And people have done this. I mean, that's why we have all of these different denominations and sects and everything else, and cults. So I'm not worried about the religious getting their knickers in a twist over the things that I'm sharing. They will whine, and they will always whine. There's a story in John chapter 3, and one of the religious leaders of the day came to Yeshua, and he came in the middle of the night. He didn't want anybody to know. He did not want to be seen with Yeshua. And he comes and he starts asking him some questions, and Yeshua replies, and he doesn't understand what Yeshua is saying, and he's like, well, how can this be possible? And Yeshua says to him, you, Nicodemus, are the teacher of Israel, and you don't understand these things? We see this almost belligerence that Yeshua treats the religious people with over and over again. He didn't come for them. And he said that. He said, I didn't come for those who don't need a doctor. He said, I came for the lost sheep. Not those who think they have it all together. So, you know, one of the characteristics of everything that I do is, you know, I say all the time, and it's because it's true, I don't know it all at all. We're stumbling through all this. We're wrestling with it. We're trying to make sense of everything. And these religious people have a very different approach, a very arrogant and prideful approach. We know all about this. I can explain this. I can explain that. Okay. You know, one of those things is the Holy Spirit, for example. You know, I'm still studying the Holy Spirit. I've studied the Holy Spirit all my life. It's one of the great mysteries. What is the Holy Spirit? What is it? It's very difficult to kind of define. But a Christian pastor was, I can tell you what the Holy Spirit is. Okay. If you can tell me what the Holy Spirit is, then you probably haven't studied it anywhere near enough. Because I've wrestled with the understanding of the Holy Spirit for a long time. And I've said for the last few weeks, you know, in about a year from now, we'll do a study on the Holy Spirit and the things that I have found. But, you know, it's going to take that long, and I'm being very intentional about it. And I'm collecting things, but it's certainly very interesting, very peculiar. I'm sure that Yeshua, if I was the Nicodemus, the religious teacher of Israel, he would say the same thing to me. What, you don't understand these things? And so I never want to put myself in that position where it's like, I'm the teacher of Israel, you know. I come to you in the middle of the night because I don't want anyone to see me with you. Yeshua hung out with people that were collecting taxes, not nice people. We wouldn't want to hang out where you collect taxes. And we don't have door-to-door tax collectors in today's time. But if we did, they would not be looked on, they would not be looked at very nicely, They're like, that's what you do. It's like the meter person, the person going around writing traffic tickets is kind of an analogy going on there. Wait, you're a meter maid? You go around and giving people tickets, Oh no, the meter maid, I guess, is the person putting the money in, but you know what I'm saying. The person going around writing all the tickets on cars, you've been in your parking spot for 3 minutes over time, it's like sucked in. Now you get a $150 fine. We don't like those people. We would despise the tax collectors even more. And yet Yeshua hung out with these people all the time. And he hung out with prostitutes, women that were selling their bodies for sex. And he was hanging out with these people. The people that people were just like, no, I don't want to hang out with those people at all. Those are not my people. Train in the background. And you find the same thing, A dirty, filthy, homeless prostitute walks into the average church today. How do you think they'd respond to her? Not well. I've seen a story about he's not a friend of mine, but I know of him, and he wrote a book, and he's a communist. He's a self-confessing communist in his book, he says so. But he did an experiment where he went to Joel Osteen's church in Texas, and he came in as a homeless person, and he was basically asked to leave. Now, I don't want to pick on Joel Osteen. I think, some of the encouragement and, the motivational words that Joel Osteen has is actually fairly good. Not all of it, right? I think there's a little bit of money going on there, but still. So he goes in, sits at the back of the church, and the ushers ask him if he would leave. Well, that's a typical response. We wouldn't just pick on Joel Osteen, because you'd find the same response in many, many churches across the world, not just in the United States. But Yeshua was hanging out with those people. And so when the religious come at me and say, oh, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, it's like, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I have studied the text a little. People can see that. And I love Jesus. I mean, I just can't get away from that. Like, you can't hide that, right? I love him so much. And the things that I'm sharing are drawing the tax collectors and the prostitutes and the homeless to him. And I keep getting message after message from people saying, I'm an atheist, but I've been watching your videos, and now I just like, yes. In John chapter 1, it says that when the Son of Man be lifted up, he will draw all men unto himself. And that's all you have to do. My friend Winky Pratney, although he gets it from Charles Finney, who said, you don't have to advertise a fire, right? You don't have to advertise a fire. And so, if you just lift up Yeshua, what will happen? If you leave all the religious crap behind, forget Christianity, this Roman mythology that was built to create a caricature of Yeshua and turn him into Jesus. I use the two words interchangeably so people know who I'm talking about. But, I love Yeshua. His name is Yeshua, not Jesus. But when you lift him up, then what you find is that people are just like, wait, I like what this guy is saying about this man. Yeah. You don't have to make Yeshua real. He already is. You just have to not present, get rid of, let go of, release all of the bullshit that men have added over the last 2,000 years. And when Yeshua stands alone, when somebody comes along, not me or anybody else, comes and says, I just want to lift him up. And then people are like, wait, oh, I like this. Oh, I like what he's talking about. I like the man he's talking about. I want to be a part of that. Yeah, that's what happens. I'm not that charismatic an individual. I'm not rah, rah, rah. Don't have to be. Don't have to be. Don't have to advertise the fire. There's a spark, there's a fire inside of me for him. And all you got to do is show it a little bit and say, like, come and take a look at who he really is. And people are like, oh, I want to know that man. Yeah, so do I. It's amazing. There's no one like Yeshua. There's nobody like him. Your pastor, the Pope, all of your friends, everybody in your fellowship, none of them are going to be judging you. One day, we will stand before the Father and the Son. And the Father is going to be the ultimate judge. And the Son is going to be standing there going, not this one, they're mine. Oh, that's it. It's like, no, but this person murdered 20 people and buried the bodies all over the state. And it's like, yeah, but he turned to me and he chose me. He left that life behind. He recognized he made all these mistakes. And he said, I'm sorry. Can I please just be with you? And the Father would go, great. Thank you, Son. And that's it. There's only one way to get the approval of Anu, the God, and to gain entrance into the garden where we get to partake of the fruit of the tree of life, where it will regrow our telomeres so that we will become young again. And that is by choosing Yeshua. Many different people have got many different methods on how you become saved or born again. But twice in the text, it tells us that whoever calls upon the name of Yeshua will be saved. You say, well, that's not very fair. These rotten people. What if Nancy Pelosi decides at the end, well, she's so sorry and she didn't understand what she was doing, and yeah, like the Roman soldier. Yeshua said on the cross as a Roman soldier is slamming a hammer into the nails, into his arms, or into his wrists. And he's writhing in agony. And he looks at the Roman soldiers and he says, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Yeah. And that's all of us. None of us know what we are doing. We're in this incredibly broken, fallen world. And we're all trying to make sense of it. And the least wise people of all are the people that think they have it all together and know what everything is all about. I don't. I'm trying to wrestle with it, to sort and to sift it and to make sense of it, and all I'm doing is sharing with you the things that I've found. So, how do you become saved or born again? Just choose him. No matter what happens, choose him. And as we move into this system of control, where a mark will come, it's going to be a physical mark that's going to be on your right hand or on your forehead. They're going to brand us. Just like we learned about in the study that we did last night, who is Yahweh, where Yahweh branded everybody. He's going to brand us again. Yahweh is not Yeshua's father. Yahweh is the devil. He is Satan, the adversary of humankind. And when he comes again and brands us, you've heard this from me. You know. He said, well, but they're threatening to take it doesn't matter. But they're threatening to take my life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The one that made this species, the one that designed us, that coded our DNA and RNA and made us from scratch, can also bring you back. And your spirit will inhabit your body again. It doesn't matter what happens. See, but they're going to literally cut my head off or kill me or execute me if I don't take them. Let them do it. Just let them do it. It doesn't matter. It'll be like a blink of an eye and you'll be back. And you'll be like, wow, like, this is all real. Yes, it's real. It's really going to happen. The mark is really about to make an appearance. And so too the resurrection is real, and you will come back. But by all means, try to survive. In fact, Yeshua says, blessed are those who survive until the end. Now, I'm talking in a way that sounds like, well, you think this is really it. I'm not positive, but it sure looks that way, doesn't it? I mean, I think so. I don't know so, but I think so. So, what do you have to do? Choose him. Just choose him. Go through the Gospels. Take my 5 questions and start there. What does Yeshua say about himself, his Father, where he came from, what he came to do, and what will soon take place? Start with those 5 questions. And then you can continue from there. That's the springboard to learning all about and understanding who is Yeshua. And watch a bunch of my videos if you like. But just make sure you choose him. Now, some people say, well, what about baptism? If you want to be baptized in water, Yeshua is Lord of the water, right? So, first miracle, standing on top of the water after his baptism, not turning water into wine. If you want to go through the waters of baptism, it's an amazing way in front of your friends to say, yeah, I stand with the Lord of the water. I'm going to go through these waters as a symbol that I'm laying down my life and I'm going to be resurrected in him. Your call, but it's a great thing to do. All right. I wish I could go live. I wish I could see all your comments, and I wish we could spend an hour doing a Q&A, and 2 weeks away. So absurd. But I thank you for listening. I mean, you made it all the way to the end. We've been going here 17 minutes. You too can play a role in all this, right? How? Lift him up. Learn about him and start talking about him. Leave the religious Christianity crap behind. Just focus on him. Watch my videos and watch the way I lift him up. And you lift him up too. And you watch how people are like suddenly interested. You don't talk about Christianity or religion. No, I talk about him. You have a wonderful night.